let's talk about external environments as they relate to marketing. You want to know what's going on around you before you make marketing decisions so that you don't make the wrong decisions. It's got an acronym of Pestle, although some people switch the E and the L. It's still the same breakdown. The first is P for political. And what you're doing is you are making sure that there's nothing in the biggest picture that is going to affect what you have going on. It might be local and regional issues. It might be national issues. So any of those items could affect the decision making for your marketing. In our case, we know that the governor gave the largest share of funding to the newest college in Idaho, Eastern Idaho College. So CSI got reduced funding. So I looked at, did a Google search for Idaho and political, and came up with trends in tuition at Idaho's public colleges and universities. And I can see that state support has declined regularly over time. And I can also find other information that I might be able to use at different points in my research. So I'm going to hold on to this and see what else I have. Then nationally, for-profit colleges for probably about the last 5 or 6 years have been in review, and now there is a law that is trying to pass final stages through the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau that, well, with Betsy DeVos in place, it may not happen. But it was to protect consumers against fraudulent actions of for-profit colleges. I got caught up in that. I went to University of Phoenix for a year, found out that my credits didn't transfer, and they at that point had lost accreditation. They regained it and then lost it again, and were on over and over. But I had to redo that entire year to the tune of about 50 grand. It was a painful lesson. I didn't know anything about accreditation, though, so I didn't even know to look for that. So when I do some research, I find in my search for higher education and online education, and I think I also threw in for-profit issues. I found for-profit and online education, what's going on, and I found that there's quite a bit of selling and things that are going on because of quality issues that have happened. So their reputation is awful. They have a brand problem. They're selling for $1. That was interesting. So you can pull information from there. That might help you as you're making marketing decisions. Then once you have the understanding, so you found some research, then you look at how could I use this? Well, let's see. We don't want to badmouth online education because there are some quality organizations. So we want to point out that ours is quality, and we have actual people that help me, hello, to help with questions and provide guidance throughout the program. You're not just thrown in. This CSI is not a degree mill. You don't just automatically get a degree for paying your money. Let's move on to E for economic. Well, economic factors are the numbers that relate to what's going on in education for our purposes. So I did a search on Google, and I did it Idaho population and business growth, I think is what I searched for. And I came up with, among other things, I found this cool little picture with Eric, one of our employees. And it's that Idaho leads the nation in population growth. So that had some interesting information in it, and I liked having that available and looking down through that. So I was able to pull some information from there about our growth. And then I can also go to Twin Falls, Idaho. Oh, that I did Twin Falls, Idaho economy is where I got. Let's see, Twin Falls, Idaho, and then I can go to Vision 2035, and I can look at the item. Let me make it. Let's see if I can. Well, you're not going to see the whole thing, sorry. But I can click through and find information. I can probably find information for every one of the areas here. And I can see that we have organization and plans and vision and what we have going on, opportunities. And then I can dig deeper and find information that I can use. Within the research I did, I found that commercial and residential developers are trying to keep up with the growth. So another focus I could use in my marketing plan was to partner with new and existing local businesses to provide training for their managers. Or I could encourage online enrollment because it won't interfere with work schedules. So yet another option. And you may come up with totally different options. You might use the same or different. It's up to you. Social is the more touchy-feely kind of things. It's what's going on, what we do, the activities that we do, things like that. You can find a lot of that in that Twin Falls Vision booklet that I just showed you. You can also do a search online. I did, and I found a great article in the New York Times about Twin Falls, which was really cool. And that an Idaho town bucks the perception of rural struggle. And it talks specifically about Twin Falls and how we're changing from an agricultural area to a food processing industry area, that we have low unemployment, that we're growing, the beauty of our outside, things that we can do here based on our geography that isn't necessarily possible in New York, as an example. It's no wonder Idaho is is the fastest growing state in the nation. So with that, I found some information. Next, I went to census.gov because I wanted to ask a few more questions. So within census.gov, let's see if I can make this a little bigger. There we go. It's www.census.gov. I scroll to the bottom, and we'll be doing this more when we get into secondary information. And I just click on Quick Facts. State, county, city, town, Twin Falls County. Let's do Twin Falls County. And here we are with a fair amount of information. We know the population. We know housing. Education, interesting. We have low bachelors compared to the United States overall, but we do have average high school graduation. Travel time is about 15 minutes versus nearly half an hour nationally. So people don't drive nearly as far. Plus our drive is much prettier. Or you could come in and you could do a question. Average number of children per family. There we go. And average number of children by state it gives us. And you'll see Idaho has one of the highest numbers in the nation. Utah beat us, big surprise there. What did surprise me though is that California and Alaska have high numbers. Well, I guess it's pretty cold in Alaska. So what the heck? Got to do something. So with that information gathered and those citations, because I want to put them at the end of my marketing plan, I've learned that there are short travel times. We have beautiful surroundings. We have a low percentage of college graduates, which means we have a lot of people who started college but not finished it. We have majority of families have at least one child. We're becoming a food processing center of industry, and that opens other industries. So with all of that information, I might want to focus on online classes because it gives you time to play outside and time with your family. I might want to focus on the newness of the program, or maybe not. Maybe you want to focus on that the program stays current, not that it's new, because we've actually been in place now for, the program itself has been in place for over 20 years. The revision, my first major revision, it's been 6 years. Anyway, or you might want to focus on the fact that electives give students the opportunity to study specific areas of career interest. Or if they already are coming into the program with those electives finished, they can be done even more quickly. So that's social. Let's move to the next item, technological. So it used to be that you had to start off with, and my classes had an opening video that I had to type the word click here to start video because people didn't know to click the triangle. So things have come a long way regarding comfort with computers. No longer do I have to start with, this is an online class. These are called folders. They operate much like manila folders, as in you would open them and there would be other things inside. That's how I used to have to start my classes. Students know what to expect as far as how to operate a computer, but they don't always know what to expect in an online program. So let's see, with this I found, heck, I didn't copy that link. Maybe I left it open. I did. I think I did technology and education or something like that. Anyway, I came up with this really cool item, key differences between online and face-to-face teaching, and it walks through some of the different pieces that you can incorporate in order to build comfort with students in online classes. Things like making things more than just read and submit. They want videos, they want interaction, making learning items, making assignments in manageable chunks so the bits and pieces can fit around daily life. So when you go into a possible focus, given this information, you might want to take a picture of the assignment area. And in the brochure that you create in the next, I think it's next week or a week after, anyway, you might include in that snippet that learning is presented in manageable chunks that fit around other activities that you have going on. Something like that. Next on our list, legal. Yeah, well, let's see. Clear outcomes are listed in the syllabus, and the syllabus is technically a contract between you and I and the school. So at the end, you should have learned each one of the, if you receive a passing grade, you should have learned each of the outcomes listed. In partnership with the state, beginning this fall, we will be launching education badges, which is kind of an exciting thing. Instead of graduating and having employers just assume you know what you know, we'll actually have badges that break down exactly for each, or at least I will for my program. I'm sort of a pilot program. If you've been in the program for any length of time, you know that I do guinea pig stuff to stay ahead of the curve. So this is an example in the small business management class. So an employer who has seen that personal success can see within this that it will be, this is what the student has had to prove they know in order to earn the badge. You can pass the class with at least a 70% understanding, but if you don't have at least 80% understanding, you don't earn the badge. So that's an added plus. So the badges will tell employers right off the bat that the student is a high performer, and will help when it comes to negotiating for positions and for salary. So you might make badges a part of your brochure that, for maybe your brochure will be focused on employers and what they will see with a graduate, and the outcomes associated with what they're learning. The final area is environmental. So I pulled up, let's see if I can grab it from over here. I pulled up the price of gasoline in Idaho, and it turns out we're amongst the highest in the nation, which is not a happy thought. But because of this, it might be that we're saving money and helping the environment because we're not putting gas fumes into the air. We're not getting wear and tear on our vehicles. It provides more time for other activities because we're not traveling. So the idea I came up with was a picture of a woman holding a computer so that she has an electronic textbook in her hands. And maybe she's fishing with the family, and while people are doing something, she's reading. And she has more time for family because she didn't have to drive to class, and she can do her homework anywhere. Whatever. So your goal is to be able to get a big picture of what's going on around you anytime you're ready to do a marketing plan. You don't want to make expensive mistakes. It doesn't mean it won't happen, but you want to at least look at what's going on around you. Next, we'll look at competition, because you need to know what's going on with them as well. You don't want to do the same activity, as an example. So thank you very much.